Hello everyone and welcome to my General Hospital Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The General Hospital recap for Thursday, April 24th, shows that Molly Lansing Davis was horrified by the papers to commit Christina Corinthos Davis. Sonny Corinthos also went to the OR after hearing certain predictions from his doctor. So here's how Thursday's episode went down. Before Lucas Jones left for JH, Lulu Spencer questioned him at her residence about her adoption story. Brooklyn Quartermain admitted Cody Bell as a patient after he was kicked by a horse, and Lucas checked him when he returned to the hospital. When Lucas revealed his chat with Lulu and the adoption story she was working on for the Landview banner, Brooklyn tried to keep her calm. Back at Lulu's, she questioned Rocco Falconeri about his blended family experience when Sam and Dante Falconeri got together. Rocco also informed Lulu that he was exactly where he wanted to be when it came to spending time at his new home. When Dante arrived to pick up Rocco, he inquired about the status of Lulu's adoption. When Lulu was alone, she glanced at her laptop for notes on Brooklyn's adoption case. Brooklyn showed up to demand answers now that she knew Lulu was writing an adoption story. Jason Morgan struck up a conversation with Danny Morgan at the batting cages, encouraging him to express his feelings. Jason and Sam experienced some heartfelt father-son moments because both missed Danny. While Dante brought Rocco to the batting cages, Molly went for a walk with Rick Lansing, who was using a walker at GH. Molly didn't offer Rick an ultimatum about staying away from Ava, but she did express her concerns. Molly was terrified that Ava would get Rick into further trouble. Despite discovering that Marco Rio's father was the dangerous Jen Sidwell, Alexis Davis and Diane Miller hired him at the legal office. Diane handed Marco a stack of folders, one of which erroneously included Christina's custody papers. When Marco gave Diane the papers, she said they were inadvertently placed in that file and requested him discretion in this private situation. Diane placed the custody documents in a manila envelope and labeled it Davis, before placing it in her suitcase. Diane then went to the hospital to discuss a custody issue with Rick, as Sonny had planned a trip to the island with Avery Corinthos this summer. Rick acted as if he was going to be difficult about it, which prompted some discussion about Alexis because Diane wanted him to give her a break. Diane appeared irritated with herself once Rick discovered she was in on the blackmail. When Diane collided with Molly, the contents of both their bags tumbled out. Molly ended up unintentionally putting the manila envelope labeled Davis in her own luggage. Molly observed injured Cody in the waiting area, so she inquired about the horse incident and sat with him for a while. Molly was startled when she discovered the documents to have Christina committed while removing items from her suitcase for work. Christina and Dante bonded at Carly Spencer's house over their fear about Sonny's upcoming surgery in Los Angeles. Christina was keeping an eye on Donna Corinthos while Sonny and Carly were away. Later, Donna covertly called Sonny for a video conference, so he pretended to be in the hospital and said it was just a checkup. Christina eventually joined the video conversation and reassured Sonny and Carly that everything was under control at home. Donna was happy to spend time with Christina, who subsequently had a visit from Alexis and explained the babysitting scenario. Christina took a minute to express her gratitude for being alive and able to be present for Donna in this way. At the hospital in Los Angeles, Sonny's doctor described the cardiac operation and eventually prepared to operate on him. Carly effectively forced Sonny to pledge that he would persevere and stay by his loved one's side. While the anesthesia was taking effect, Sonny reminisced about happy times with his children and grandchildren. Carly was nervous as she waited for the news, so Brick kept her company and approved of her presence for Sonny. According to General Hospital spoilers, Sonny will survive the procedure, but there will be some dangerous moments as a result of another attempt to wipe him off the map. The episode began with Molly Lansing Davis in a state of complete panic, as she sifted through heaps of legal documents spilled across her desk. Her responsibilities as an attorney had never felt greater, and the pressure was increasing when she discovered a major error in the documentation she had filed for a high-profile case. Her hands trembled as she flipped over the pages, trying to figure out how such a blunder had slipped by her. The case in question entailed a custody dispute that had already received a lot of media attention, and any miscalculation might be disastrous for her client and her own professional image. The worry was written all over her face as she murmured to herself, attempting to retrace her steps and determine where everything had gone wrong. Meanwhile, TJ Ashford strolled in and sensed his wife's misery. He gently placed his hand on her shoulder, asking what was wrong. Molly, who was normally composed and methodical, was on the point of tears when she admitted her error. TJ, her ever-supportive spouse, reminded her that mistakes happen and advised her to take a big breath before confronting the issue. He reminded her that she was one of the most capable lawyers he knew, and that she could handle this. His calm approach helped alleviate her worries, but the ticking time heightened the urgency. The deadline for delivering updated paperwork was swiftly approaching, and Molly realized she needed to move quickly to save the situation. As Molly and TJ reviewed the documents, they discovered that the error was caused by a misreading of a previous court decision. The error was not entirely Molly's fault. There had been inconsistent rulings in comparable circumstances, and the statute's phrasing was vague. Nonetheless, she couldn't shake her remorse, knowing that her client's future was at stake. TJ proposed seeing Diane Miller for counsel, citing her significant experience in family law. Molly was hesitant at first, not wanting to disclose her error to another attorney, but she eventually agreed that Diane's advice could be beneficial. After a quick phone call, Diane arrived at their apartment, ready to help. The experienced lawyer analyzed the paperwork and promptly identified the problem. With her sharp legal intellect, she assisted Molly in drafting an addendum that corrected the issue without endangering the case. Molly's face lit up with relief as she thanked Diane sincerely. Diane, ever the mentor, reminded her that even the finest attorneys make errors. What matters is how they deal with them. While Molly's professional dilemma unfolded, another life-altering situation arose at General Hospital. Sonny Corinthos was rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery after suffering an unexpected and serious health problem. The program had hinted at his worsening state in previous sequences, but the gravity of his position became clear as physicians tried to stabilize him. Carly Spencer, despite their difficult relationship, remained by his side, her face etched with concern. She clutched his hand tightly as the medical team prepared him for the operating room, murmuring encouraging words despite her trembling voice. Sonny, despite his discomfort, attempted a feeble smile and assured her that he would be okay. However, the anxiety in his eyes was unmistakable. This was not simply another normal treatment. The tension in the hospital hallway was palpable as relatives and friends gathered for updates. Jason Morgan stood stoically close, his usual cool manner concealing his anxiety. He and Sonny had gone through numerous life-threatening situations together, and the prospect of losing his greatest buddy was agonizing. Nearby, Michael Corinthos paced nervously, his mind racing with worst-case scenarios. The prospect of losing his father again, after everything they had gone through, was too much to stomach. Quartermaine family members, including Monica and Ned, also arrived, demonstrating Sonny's extensive relationships over the years, despite the disputes that had frequently divided them. Inside the operating room, the surgical team moved with precision and coordination. Dr. Hamilton Finn oversaw the procedure, his focus steady despite the high stakes. The severity of Sonny's sickness had not yet been completely disclosed to his loved ones, but the urgency of the procedure indicated that it was significantly more serious than previously believed. As the minutes passed, the waiting room became increasingly solemn. Carly, who is usually so strong, burst into tears as her emotions overwhelmed her. Jocelyn Jacks, who had arrived to support her mother, threw an arm over her and offered wordless consolation. The link between mother and daughter had frayed in recent months, but it didn't matter in this moment of need. Molly presented the revised documentation on time to the courthouse, due to Diane's assistance. The weight lifted off her shoulders was enormous, but the event left her unsettled. She told TJ that she had been pushing herself too hard lately, attempting to establish herself in a competitive field while juggling personal life responsibilities. TJ listened closely, telling her that she didn't have to do everything alone. They were a team, and he was there to help her in any way she needed. The poignant moment between them highlighted the strength of their connection, which is a rarity amid Port Charles's ever-changing drama. As the program came to a close, the anxiety at the hospital peaked. The OR doors finally swung open, and Dr. Finn emerged with an unreadable expression. The relatives rushed forward, desperate for news. Finn provided a cautiously positive update. Sonny had survived surgery, but the following 24 hours would be vital. The relief in the room was evident, yet the underlying worry persisted. Sonny Corinthos had already cheated death, but this time felt different. The path to recovery would be long, and the emotional toll on those who loved him had only just begun. The episode concluded on a mournful but hopeful tone, with Molly's professional issue resolved and Sonny's destiny in the balance. The intertwined lives of Port Charles residents were once again upended, reminding viewers that no one in this town was ever completely safe from drama, grief, or redemption. The episode began with Molly Lansing Davis in complete disarray, her usually orderly desk now a jumble of legal files, highlighted notes, and hurriedly scribbled reminders. The weight of her error pushed down on her like a tangible force. She had misfiled a critical motion in a high-stakes custody case, one that might decide whether a child stayed with a loving foster home or was returned to a birth parent with a questionable record. The case had already gained media attention, and Molly, who was still in the early stages of her legal profession, was keen to prove herself. Now, with the inaccuracy in the documentation staring back at her, she felt the crushing weight of defeat. Her hands shook as she glanced through the documents, her thoughts racing. How did I miss it? The omission was not only embarrassing, it may have serious ramifications for an innocent child. The court deadline loomed, and if she didn't resolve this issue in time, her client may lose everything. The pressure was suffocating. TJ Ashford strolled in just as despair was about to engulf her, his usual easygoing smile fading when he noticed her expression. "Molly?" he inquired, setting down his luggage. "What's wrong?" She swallowed hard and fought back tears. "I messed up, TJ. Big time." She revealed her misstep, which was a misreading of a recent appellate rule that rejected a crucial claim in her case. If the opposing counsel discovered it before she changed it, they may use it to undermine her entire case. TJ, ever the solid presence, went closer and placed a calming hand on her shoulder. "Okay, first breathe. We'll figure this out." His calm manner was a lifeline. "Have you called the clerk's office? Maybe there's still time to amend it." Molly shakes her head. "The judge is strict about deadlines. If I submit a correction now, it will appear that I did not do my due diligence in the first place." She hid her face in her hands. "I can't believe I let this happen." TJ grabbed her into a hug. "Hey, you're human. Even the best lawyers make mistakes." He paused, considering. "What about Diane? She's handled cases like this before. Maybe she can help." Molly hesitated. Admitting her error to Diane Miller, one of Port Charles's most fearsome attorneys, was like entering the lion's den. But she ran out of choices. She reluctantly took up her phone. Meanwhile, mayhem broke out at General Hospital as Sonny Corinthos was rushed to emergency surgery. The show had hinted at his worsening health in previous scenes. His unexplained dizziness, the way he grabbed the edge of his desk when no one was looking. But now the problem had escalated to a life-or-death catastrophe. Carly Spencer, despite their strained relationship, was the one to call 911 when Sonny collapsed at the Metro Court. She paced the hospital hallway, her customary demeanor shattered. "How did this happen?" she questioned, turning to Jason Morgan, who was standing close with a sad expression. Jason shakes his head. "He's been pushing himself too hard. You know how he is, never slows down." Carly's hands tightened into fists. "He should have said something." Her voice crackled, revealing the terror behind her rage. Nearby, Michael Corinthos remained motionless, his thoughts replaying the last time he almost lost his father, the shooting, the amnesia, the months of uncertainty. The notion of going through it again was awful. "He's gonna be okay," he mumbled, more to himself than anyone else. Laura Collins, ever the voice of reason, pressed a soothing hand across his arm. "The doctors here are the best. If anyone can pull him through, it's them." Inside the operating room, Dr. Hamilton Finn worked with intense concentration. The surgery was delicate. Sonny's condition, now discovered to be a ruptured aneurysm, necessitated quick attention. One incorrect move and he could bleed out on the table. Finn's hands remained steady, but the tension in the room was evident. Diane Miller returned to the courthouse and arrived at Molly and TJ's apartment, her quick eyes analyzing the paperwork in seconds. "Ah, she responded, tapping a certain clause. This is where the confusion happened. The appellate ruling you reference was overturned in a later decision. It's a common oversight. Molly's stomach twisted. So what do I do? Diane smirked. We file an amended motion citing the updated precedent. General Hospital spoilers for Friday, April 25th, suggest that Willow Corinthos' visit to Michael Corinthos goes badly, and Sonny Corinthos is forced to fight for his life. Nina Reeves will also trick Drew Kane with her latest trap. So here's what fans should expect. Brooke Lynn Quartermaine will criticize Lulu Spencer's adoption tale, and most likely prevent her from writing it. As their dispute escalates, Lulu may point out that Brooke Lynn is not her boss. Dante Falconeri will finally arrive and wonder what is going on, putting Brooke Lynn and Lulu in a difficult situation. It appears that Lulu and Brooke Lynn will have to make up some explanations to avoid revealing the true reason for this confrontation. Brooke Lynn is doing everything she can to protect Dante from learning about the baby she gave up for adoption, but Lulu's dangerous behavior may complicate matters further. Despite Brooke Lynn's efforts to conceal the truth about their biological kid, Dante will undoubtedly learn more about it in the future episodes. Nina will set her plan in motion for Drew, and the escort she probably intends to lure him with. Nina will also have some instructions for Portia Robinson, who will play an important role in this trap. Ava Jerome will then notify Alexis Davis that she will need to make an adjustment to their payment schedule. Alexis will have to cope with more of Ava's shenanigans and demands, so the two are bound to clash again. Willow will say that she is visiting Michael's clinic in Germany to see her husband. Willow intends to pay Michael a visit after traveling so far, but she is about to confront a difficult challenge. Drew and Carly Spencer are both aware of Willow's trip. Could one of them do anything devious to prevent her from visiting Michael? Drew may be the greatest candidate here, considering his backing for Willow's travel was quite suspect. Maybe Drew merely feigned to encourage Willow, so he could undermine her interaction with Michael. Molly Lansing Davis will continue to struggle with the papers she recently discovered on GH. Molly will insist on taking action straight away after discovering the documents used to commit Christina Corinthos Davis. Molly looks to be preparing to show Christina the paperwork, leaving her equally surprised. Christina will have a lot of questions once she discovers Alexis is behind everything, so she may confront her mother shortly. This should lead to Alexis disclosing the entire horrible blackmail story, and admitting Diane Miller believed that locking Christina up in a psychiatric facility would be her best legal defense. In Los Angeles, Sonny will survive his surgery, so Carly Spencer may receive some encouraging news from his doctor concerning his rehabilitation. Sonny will still be in danger, however, since someone impersonating as a nurse will enter his room with a syringe containing a potentially lethal substance. Colette Moreau appears to be the mastermind behind the nurse farce and attempted hit on Sonny. Carly may come to Sonny's rescue, since she appears nervous in Friday's preview video when she wonders whether he is okay. According to General Hospital spoilers, Sonny's life will be spared for the time being, but the peril he faces will last much longer. For months, General Hospital fans were exposed to Lulu telling anybody who would listen that she needed to get her daughter Charlotte back. With that purpose in mind, she traveled the world, putting people in risk while pursuing Valentine and their offspring. However, after rescuing the girl and bringing her back to Port Charles, we have seen very little of Charlotte. We were told this week that instead of attending Dante's birthday party, she went to the movies with pals. While this may not seem like a big thing, it would have been an excellent opportunity to remind us of Charlotte standing not only inside the family, but also among the other teenagers on the canvas. Later, Lulu moved into her own home, and it would have been a good opportunity to watch how Charlotte and Dante interact. Dante, his ex-wife Lulu, and their children form a modern-day Brady Bunch. Yes, it is vital to see how Dante and Lulu adjust to their new reality, especially considering the Brooke Lynn and Gio link. But why is Charlotte left out in the cold in terms of storyline? Let us not forget that Charlotte was recently grappling with the darker aspect of the Cassadine lineage. Exploring this avenue requires Laura's granddaughter to be on air. General Hospital spoilers Friday, April 25th. Willow's Michael visit goes wrong, Sonny's fight to survive, and Nina tricks Drew. The drama in Port Charles never stops, and Friday, April 25th, looks to be another explosive day on General Hospital. With emotions mounting and secrets threatening to be revealed, Fans will not want to miss a single moment. From emotional encounters to life-or-death conflicts, the episode is jam-packed with thrilling plotlines that will have viewers on the edge of their seats. One of the most anticipated scenes involves Willow and Michael's poor relationship. Their marriage has had many ups and downs, and this visit could be the breaking point. Willow, who is still dealing with her health issues and mental stress, reaches out to Michael in the hopes of reconciling, or at least finding closure. However, things go horribly wrong as unresolved anger and betrayal resurface. Michael, who has been dealing with his own shame and frustration, may not be in the mood for a peaceful chat. Harsh words are exchanged, and Willow's attempt to mend their shattered relationship fails horribly. Will this be the final nail in the coffin for their marriage? Or is there still a ray of hope for reconciliation? Meanwhile, Sonny Corinthos finds himself in a lethal scenario. His adversaries have been circling, and they have now made their move. Sonny is battling for his life, whether it's against a rival gangster, a vindictive foe from his past, or an unforeseen betrayal within his own organization. His survival instincts kick in, but the situation is stacked against him. As he fights for his life, everyone closest to him, Carly, Jason, and even his estranged loved ones, fall into panic mode. Sonny has previously evaded death, but this time the threat is different. Will he make it out alive, or is Port Charles about to lose one of its most powerful figures? Nina Reeves, the skilled manipulator, has set her sights on Drew Kane. Nina, still hurting from her own losses and determined to regain control, devises a smart strategy to outwit Drew. Nina's plot is intended to leave Drew vulnerable, whether for business, personal reasons, or because of their common history with Carly. She manipulates his trust, emotions, and even his sense of justice, leading him into a trap. Drew, who is generally quick and sensitive, may not detect the deception until it is too late. Nina's actions may have far-reaching effects, not only for Drew but for everyone in their orbit. Will she succeed in her plan, or will Drew find out the truth before it's too late? Other characters in Port Charles have their own set of hardships. Elizabeth Weber is still navigating her conflicting feelings for Hamilton Finn, while dealing with the aftereffects of her prior trauma. Their partnership has been a source of comfort, but new problems threaten to separate them. Finn's commitment to his career, combined with a potentially devastating medical crisis, may compel Liz to confront her darkest concerns about love and loss. At the same time, Spencer Cassadine and Trina Robinson's relationship encounters fresh challenges. Just when they think they've found bliss, outside forces, whether it's family interference, ancient grudges, or a startling twist of fate, test their relationship. Spencer's devotion to his family and Trina's strong sense of justice may place them on opposing sides of a simmering war. Will their love withstand the pressure, or will fractures appear? The hospital's medical staff is coping with a high-risk emergency. A familiar figure is rushed to the ER, struggling for their life, and the physicians must work quickly to rescue them. The crisis brings out the best and worst in the employees as personal and professional emotions collide. Lives are at stake, and the conclusion will have far-reaching consequences in Port Charles. As the day progresses, relationships alter, secrets are revealed, and the people of Port Charles are forced to face difficult realities. Friendships are tested, romances are strained, and foes grasp the opportunity to strike. By the end of the episode, everything will have changed. General Hospital continues to provide thrilling drama, and Friday, April 25th, is no exception. With Willow and Michael's argument taking a disastrous turn, Sonny fighting for his life, and Nina pulling the strings in her latest scheme, fans are in for an unforgettable episode. The stakes have never been higher, and the consequences of these cataclysmic events will define Port Charles's future in unexpected ways. Sonny's fight for survival, a deadly betrayal. Sonny Corinthos has spent decades expanding his empire, forming alliances, and surviving numerous assassination attempts. However, on Friday, April 25th, he faces one of his most difficult tests yet. The attack occurs when he least expects it, possibly during a rare moment of vulnerability, when his guard is down. Sonny is caught off guard by an ambush at the warehouse, a setup at a supposedly peaceful meeting, or even a strike at his own home. The attackers are well prepared, heavily equipped, and merciless. Bullets fly and Sonny, a seasoned fighter, is outnumbered. What distinguishes this strike from previous ones is the prospect of betrayal. Someone close to him, a trusted ally, a bodyguard, or perhaps a family member, could have helped set him up. The issue remains: who sold him out? Jason's loyalty tested. If Jason Morgan returns to the fold, he'll go to any length to find Sonny. But what if he's being falsely accused? A fabricated piece of evidence or a contrived correspondence might give the impression that Jason was involved, causing their unbreakable link to unravel. Carly's desperate search. Despite their difficult history, Carly Spencer will be distraught. She may seek assistance from old foes such as Drew or Nina, if she believes they have knowledge. Her worry may lead to rash decisions, exacerbating the problem. Dante's divided duty. Dante Falconeri, a son and a police investigator, is caught between family devotion and the law. If the PCPD get involved, would he protect his father or follow procedure, knowing that it could cost Sonny his life? Ava's hidden knowledge, always playing the long game. Ava Jerome may know more than she admits. Why didn't she interfere if she knew about the incident ahead of time? Her motivations remain questionable, particularly considering her history of manipulation. As Sonny struggles for his life, flashbacks to his previous near-death experiences plague him. His memory loss in Nixon Falls, the warehouse shooting that killed him years ago. Is this the end, or will he continue to defy the odds? Aftermath. A power vacuum in Port Charles. If Sonny falls even briefly, the underworld will erupt in mayhem. Rivals such as Cyrus Renault and a revitalized pikeman group may grasp the opportunity to step in. Meanwhile, his family struggles to keep control. Michael's moral dilemma. Despite their estrangement, Michael Corinthos may be obliged to intervene in his father's life to defend the family's interests. Will he cross lines from which he will be unable to recover? Christina's return? Will Sonny's life or death struggle bring Christina Corinthos Davis back to Port Charles? Her absence was felt, and a family catastrophe could be the catalyst for her return. The identity of the mole is revealed. The genuine betrayer's unmasking will cause shockwaves. If it's someone unexpected, say a longtime ally or perhaps a romantic partner, the consequences will be disastrous. By the end of the episode, Sonny's destiny may still be in the balance, leaving viewers wondering whether this is the tragic end of a legend, or simply another battle in his never-ending conflict. This expansion increases the suspense, character dynamics, and long-term ramifications of Sonny's plot. Would you prefer to delve deeper into another subplot, such as Nina's manipulation of Drew, or the confrontation between Willow and Michael? Or should we add another layer, such as how this attack relates to the continuing pikeman conspiracy? Let me know how you want to proceed. Willow's Michael visit goes wrong. Sonny's fight for survival. Nina tricks Drew. The drama in Port Charles intensifies as relationships are tested, secrets are revealed, and lives are at stake. Willow's attempt to reunite with Michael takes a disastrous turn, leaving both of them suffering from unanticipated outcomes. Meanwhile, Sonny Corinthos finds himself in a perilous battle for survival, pushing those closest to him to reassess their allegiances. In a startling twist, Nina Reeves manipulates Drew Kane, causing a chain reaction that might damage trust and permanently alter friendships. Willow's visit with Michael takes a dark turn. Willow Tate has always been a source of strength, but her current challenges have made her emotionally vulnerable. Determined to heal her shattered relationship with Michael Corinthos, she arranges a meeting in the hopes of bridging the gap. However, what begins as a sincere chat suddenly devolved out of control when unresolved tensions and past betrayals surfaced. Michael, still dealing with his own anger and anguish, lashes out, accusing Willow of being naive and overly forgiving. The fight heats up, and in a moment of desperation, Willow spills a secret she had pledged to keep, one that may ruin Michael's world. The consequences are immediate. Michael, surprised and betrayed, storms out, leaving Willow in tears. She hoped for reconciliation, but she may have irreparably harmed their relationship. As Willow struggles with regret, she begins to wonder if some wounds are too deep to repair. Meanwhile, Michael's rage drives him down a perilous path, causing him to clash with his family and make irresponsible decisions with serious consequences. Sonny's fight for survival. Sonny Corinthos has battled numerous opponents over the years, but his most recent battle may be the most difficult yet. Following a horrific ambush that leaves him seriously injured, Sonny is forced to rely on his instincts, and the few people he can still trust. As he fights for his life, his organization collapses, with competing factions detecting weakness and rushing in to grab his land. Carly and Jason, despite their own tangled past with Sonny, rally to his defense, knowing that his demise may spell doom for everyone associated with him. But with foes lurking in the shadows and former allies turning on him, Sonny's survival is far from certain. The issue remains: who can he really rely on?